Today's session, we have a representative from Hewshott on reimagining AV-Artificial Intelligence and its transformative impact on audiovisual technology. Hewshott is an industry, global leading, independent acoustic, AV, IT, and theater consultant practice. Brandon Creel, the USA partner for the practice, is going to discuss how AI is revolutioning the way we are experiencing audiovisual technologies. In this discussion, we'll explore how AI enhances both our personal and professional experiences. Then we'll dive into AI's transformative impact on the audiovisual technology and leave you with insights into trends and innovations available now and coming soon. There will be a Q&A after the speaker for about 10 minutes. So right now I'd like to introduce Brandon Creel.
Thanks, Dan. AI is the biggest innovation that humans have ever created. If you think about that just for a minute, the biggest innovation, not the internet, not fire, not electricity, AI. That's today, we're here. To really appreciate it, we have to think back a little bit to previous innovation, human innovation. And millions of years ago, we had fire. Okay? That's one piece. And then it was another 1.5 million years until the wheel and the plow came. The point I'm making here is that human innovation is exponential. In the past, it takes a very long time, it moves very slowly, and the levels of innovation are very, very low. Now, today, it's getting faster and faster. It's not coming in millions of years or tens of thousands of years or even years. It's even daily, and you're going to see that throughout this. Tom Hanks in the movie Castaway is on an island, and he knows that fire exists, and he's rubbing sticks together to try to create fire, and it's really, really difficult. His hands are bleeding, and he gets rescued, and he's back at home, and they're having a party for him, and he's mesmerized by the lighter that's in his hand, and he's clicking it, and the flame is at his fingertips. But it took us millions of years to get to that point. We have electricity. We now have planes. So powered flight was roughly 1903. 1969, we put a man on the moon. This is largely pre-computers. You know, they calculated pi by hand, I think 14 decimal places when they went off to do it. But AI is really a collection of different things. So there's all of these acronyms or subcomponents or subsystems of AI. So let's just understand, let's get on the same understanding of what that is. So LLM or large language model, these are text-based prompts or AI. ChatGPT is a prime example. You type something in, it gives you something back in text. Multimodal, this is still a model, but this is giving you anything in and anything out and the ability to transform it from one to another. So you can take text in, or you could take images in, you could do video out, you can do anything in, anything out. And that as a collection is what gives us generative AI. Deep learning, machine learning, supervised, unsupervised. Tesla has their full self-driving, and right now it's supervised. So a human has to, it can drive, but a human is supervising it. You might have to grab the wheel in case something is going awry. Unsupervised is you're letting the machine do it autonomously by itself. But what about deep learning? And if you think about, there's a famous toy, it's about the size of a shoebox for toddlers, and it has 3 shape cutouts, a triangle, a square, and a circle. And it has these 3-dimensional objects, a cube and a cylinder, and you just give it to the toddler and you let them play. And if you don't tell them how to do it, they might not comprehend the speech, they'll figure it out on their own. We don't know how they did it. They might not know how they did it, but just by playing around, they gain a deep learning of this, how to solve the problem. And that's exactly what deep learning is. So this is machine learning, these subsets of machine learning. NLP, natural language processing, these are the AI assistants like Alexa and Siri, OK Google. This is human voice in, and it's giving us speech back. So it's not converting it to text, it's understanding, it's comprehension of voice. And lastly, computer vision. So this is a camera. What does the computer see in an image? An image is just a bunch of different pixels. We see objects and people and things and colors and shapes, but what does the computer see? Make sense? In 1997, IBM came out with the Deep Blue project. Anybody hear of that? Where they put the computer against the world chess champion. The computer won. They said, well, let's just do a rematch. You know, maybe the player didn't have a coffee, or maybe he made a mistake. They did a rematch. Computer blew him out of the water. This is really we think we're on to something. We think we're on to something. In 2012, Google released what's known as their cat paper. It wasn't titled the cat paper, but it was the cat paper. And what they did is they networked 100 computers. They let them run for 3 days, and they had them watch YouTube videos of cats. They never told the computer that you're watching a cat video. They just let it do its thing. And at the end, they said, what did you watch? What did you see? And the answer was cats. How does the computer know that it saw cats? No one told it. There's some deep learning that's happening there. Now, there was a classification reference. There was 22,000 images, like a house, a plant, a person, a chair, a pumpkin, a bicycle. So it had this reference of 22,000 objects, but they watched 10 million videos over 3 days. What is it? It's a cat. We don't know how it came to that conclusion that what it saw was a cat. We have a bunch of pixels, but it came to this understanding that that's most likely what it saw. So this is AI. We're really starting to figure it out now. In 2016, more developments. In 2023, that was when OpenAI released their ChatGPT. And that's what made AI accessible to all of us. That's analogous to the internet, which was 1983, but it really wasn't accessible until Netscape released their web browser in 1995. And that's what transformed the internet and made it accessible to all of us. And that's where we are with AI now. To think about the current state of, what I've mentioned thus far, it really has been background or historical information, but where are we today and thinking about where AI is headed? So IT is all about, to me, not the technology, but it's about the information, talking about from the AI perspective. AIs have to be trained, these models have to be trained, and you have to get this information. So where does the information come from? You have the public domain, things like books, the internet, papers, magazines, social media, science, all of which is human-based. So that's what we're training the models on, is human-based knowledge. But humans have a limited capacity, so the question is, how limited is the capacity? And you can think about a doctor and how long a doctor's education is until they're at the level where we say that they have expertise. So they're going from elementary school to high school to college to medical school to the residency. Maybe it's a span of 25 years. And then we say, okay, doctor, we think you're qualified enough. We think you're an expert. Go ahead, you can now practice. 25 years it took to learn that information of what information is out there. It's already published, right? It's textbooks and it's articles, education, training. How fast can the AI do it? Maybe in weeks, maybe in days. That's how transformative it is. But it's not just enough information for one doctor. It's going to read, AI is going to read every book that's published on the topic in that same time period. It's extremely transformative. I talk about AI sapiens. So Homo sapiens literally means thinking man. And that's the difference between a machine or something that is just doing algorithmic if this, then that computing. AI sapien is going to be computer thinking. We're trying to get the AI, or they've gotten the AI to actually do the thought process, and that's where we are today. Going back to how smart, so Neil deGrasse Tyson gives a speech. He speaks on a lot of things, but he gives a speech about the difference between a human and a chimpanzee. And we share 98.8% of DNA. So let's just say we're 1% from a DNA perspective different than a chimpanzee. But how about on the intelligence difference? So a chimpanzee has roughly an IQ of 20 to 25, about that of a child or a toddler, and they can stack boxes and they can climb up the boxes and they get a banana. And then we as humans, 1% different, we have the Hubble telescope floating in outer space sending us wireless images of the universe. That's 1% difference. So let's think about something that's 1% different than us, or 1% better or smarter than us. We can't comprehend it. The chimpanzee has no concept of what a restaurant is, or what 10 a.m. is, or what an airplane is. They don't understand it. They don't know what it is. And we can't comprehend the level of intelligence that an AI is because we have limited capacity. I talk about the internet and how transformative it was from 1995 when it was accessible to now, roughly 30 years later. We can't live without it. It's become a utility. We all have internet in our house. We all have internet in our workplace. We have internet at school. We have internet in our pocket. The same is true for electricity, not in our pocket, but the same is true for electricity as a utility, and the same is going to be true for AI. AI is going to be utility just like the internet. It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be in your car. It's going to be on your phone. It's going to be in your house. It's going to be part of your daily interaction. The 15th edition of the Encyclopedia Britannica, that used to be the de facto go-to place for information if you wanted to find out something that you didn't know what it was. It might give you a sentence or two of information about a topic, but pre-internet, that's where you go. So the 15th edition is still the current edition. I was actually blown away that they still offered it. It's 28 volumes, it's 32,640 pages, and it's available today on Amazon for $400. You got to put it somewhere. You need like a bookcase to do it. The internet, Wikipedia, has 61 million pages of information and it's free. It's exponential. It's not linear, it's exponential. AI is changing the world. It's estimated in 2023 that 70% of all code was written by machines. Not people. Machines are doing the coding. Now, one of the hot topics in AI is all about truthfulness or trustworthiness. So if you type a search into Google, you're going to get a couple million results. You might care about the first 1, 2, or 3. Maybe you're looking for something specific and you're looking at the first 2 or 3 pages. So 20, maybe 30 results. And you're trying to sift through and you're trying to figure out what's most accurate, what's most beneficial and useful to you, what's true, because there's forums and uneducated people or people who are not experts in the field are putting in the public domain information and there's chatter back and forth. So it's up to you, but it's giving you millions of results. But when you type something into ChatGPT or other AIs, you get one result. With confidence, you get one. So then the question is is AI giving you something that's the truth? In the Harris-Trump presidential debate, both candidates made claims that were factual, truthful, and they made claims that were not. The moderators caught some of that, but at the end of the debate, the viewers were left to make their own choices, their own decisions on whether or not they think it's truthful or factual or not. Nonfiction is easy. It's just a made-up story. Anybody can do it. It's cheap, it's easy, it's quick. But to be truthful is hard. You need sources, you need facts, you need research, you need to be credible. So I asked AI, how do you know if it's true or not? How does AI know if something is true? And it says, well, it doesn't know in the human sense, but it uses some methods like data patterns and cross-referencing and probabilistic reasoning and human input. But it says AI can make mistakes. It's learned model based off of information. Is that information biased? Is that information outdated? And the last term here is really synthetic. Anything that's created by AI, created by the computer, images, videos, books, it's referred to as synthetic. So we have human-made, or what we call as real. We kind of understand that as real. But anything that's made by AI is going to be synthetic. So computers are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Data storage is getting larger, but we're able to do it in smaller formats. But if you think now that not only are humans using social media and uploading video and audio second by second, so is the AI. So the demand for storage, even though technology and computers are getting smaller, the demand for storage is exponential. The cloud is not some thing in the sky. The cloud is here on Earth. It's data centers that are building. If you watch or pay attention to the construction industry, it's all about building data centers, racks and racks and racks of computers. Just in the US, there's almost 1,800 data centers. I mentioned that AI is changing yearly or weekly. Just last week, Tesla had the press release. Anyone see the press release? A couple people. They announced that they had 20 of their cyber cabs or their robo-taxis driving around. And Elon Musk gets in the cyber cab and it drives away. The cyber cab has no steering wheel. No steering wheel. They're starting production in 2026, $30,000. Whoa. That's AI. AI is not only a text prompt or a multimodal function, it's driving around, unsupervised. They've talked about, and there's been press about their humanoid robot, Optimus, but Optimus was interacting with the crowd, was talking with people. In one of its, there was several of them, but in one of the communication dialogues, someone said, yeah, it's my birthday. And the robot said, well, let's get a few people together and sing happy birthday. And then they go inside and he's serving up drinks. Or I can't say he, excuse me. It, is that the right thing? They. So you really have to keep an eye on the space because it's changing daily, it's changing weekly. Now, the meat and the potatoes is AI in AV. That's why we're here. So we already have AV deployed everywhere. We have inputs and outputs for audio. Microphone takes it in, speakers take it out. You're listening to me now. Cameras are taking the video in, displays are giving the video out. So we already have eyes and ears deployed everywhere. They're already networked. They have access to the internet. They're already linked. They're already talking to each other. So we have all of that stuff already out. So the question is, how about AI and where are we headed? Before we get to the next slide, I do want to just warn you slightly of the marketing departments So there's this race for we all have AI because it's developing so quickly, and we don't want to. It's a competitive market out there. We want to make sure that every manufacturer is offering some special sauce. So I question you that when you're looking at some technology and it's claiming that it has AI, does it actually have AI? And the simplest way to know is it doing some kind of automation? I said, if this, then that. That's not AI. That's a great feature. That's automation, and that's nice to have. But are they marketing as AI? Sometimes we see that. If it's AI, it has to do some kind of thinking, some kind of reasoning, not just a if this, then that. Also know that AV lags IT. That's just a fact. IT was in the cloud a decade ago. AV is now in the cloud. It's great. We're here. We're going to be there, and we're going to see the same thing with AI. The cloud is allowing us for remote management, monitoring. That's something that's available today that we can have it. It's not AI, but we're there. So where are we headed with AI? Everything that I mentioned now is on the market and available. You may have it. If not, it's available. You can see it at next door. On the left, we have computer vision. So a camera or a computer, AI, can see a person. If you think about what a person is, I'm a person. I have 2 ears, 2 eyes, a head, 2 arms, 2 legs. Not everyone looks like me, though. And then when you turn sideways, the camera sees something completely different. I'm still a person, but I look very different. If I turn around, I'm still a person, but you can't see my face. So what's interesting about this model is it's looking at different data points, and if the person turns, it can still track them. So we have human recognition. We have on the right is a version, a competitor, but another version where you can select in their user interface auto cropping, auto tracking. What kind of shot do you want? Do you want a full body? Do you want just the bust? Do you want a headshot? How many people you want it to allow? If it's going to follow only the primary presenter, or if it's going to zoom out to get a wide shot of multiple people. So AI is already in video. Auto tracking, auto framing, auto cropping. And there's only going to be more and more and more cameras. Conference rooms, for example, used to have 1 camera. Now we're seeing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cameras. I was just in a conference room last week, 12 cameras. More and more cameras because we need more and more sensors. We need more and more input. On the accessibility side, translation and transcription. AI is giving us anything in, anything out. So NLP, natural language processing, can take our voice in, and it can automatically go out in any language. It can be English in, English out in text. It could be English in speech, Mandarin out. Anything, in, out, any language. You don't need a translator. We have it. It's available today. On the digital signage, historically, digital signage was on the wall, and as you're walking down the hall, you might look at it. You might see what the weather is. You might see what the schedule is of today. Maybe there's a ticker, maybe that has news feed in there. Now the shift for digital signage is to become more interactive, to have a user click things and touch things. That's giving the computer, that's giving the AI some information about how long you're interacting with it, what's of interest to you. Is it where it's on the screen? There's solutions on the market that are already automatically AI generating and updating that digital signage content to try to make it more beneficial and useful for all. Audio, room tuning, EQ. DSPs have been around for a long time now, but what's new is that it understands what speech is and what sounds are not speech. So if you're in a meeting, if you're in the classroom and someone's eating chips from a bag, very distracting, but the microphone knows that that sound, that noise is not speech. Filter it out. Someone's tapping on the keyboard, someone's coughing. You don't have to hear that. It automatically is EQ'd out. We're just starting to see control system programming using AI. There is a solution available today. I think we're going to see a lot more on that. But why are we custom programming every single room, every single application? So now there's AI being integrated with that. You may ask, how do I implement AI? I'm interested in AI. I see the technology. I want to implement it. But how am I going to go about implementing it? Well, the first thing that you need to know is you don't want to convince management to buy all new equipment because you're going to have everything AI. We know it's exponential. We know it's changing rapidly. So that's probably not a wise choice. However, if you start to implement things that are scalable, things that are upgradable, that can grow with you, not things that are replaceable, that's more of interest. The iPhone 16 was released last month, and everything on the marketing was Apple Intelligence, AI. The phone shipped without Apple Intelligence. It still does not have Apple Intelligence, but the hardware is there. So when they do release it, the phones are all software upgradable, ready to go for the AI. So think about AV in the same way. As you scale, as you bring more and more endpoints online, you want your control system, you want your network, you want everything ready to go. Be curious, be exploratory. Know that this tech is new. Start somewhere, start small. Talk to visual sound, talk to the manufacturers, put your hands on it. The only way to jump into it, that's the only way to start, is to jump into it. Just don't be stagnant because AI is already here. All right, think about the cloud. It's remote monitoring, remote management. We have, I mentioned already, the video tracking, framing, all of that's ready to go. A few pictures. The left picture, I typed into a image creator. I said, give me a picture of a conference room of the future. And this is what it gave me. I'm not sure what this is. I'm not sure the AI knows what that is either. Is it a projector? Is it a camera? What? I don't know. So then I said, well, revise the image, but put people in it and put the camera on the wall above the display. And then it gave me the right image. So now the displays are ceiling mounted. It's a different room. But what's interesting is look at the ceiling, look at the architecture. For some reason, what the AI model was trained on had images of this kind of coffer tray ceiling with LED lighting. So that's what it's been trained on. But it's going to evolve. And then I mentioned control systems. I think we're going to see a lot more development there. The picture on the left, I said, give me a control system UI, an image of a control system UI with 3 microphone, video control, and the ability to stream. And it gave me the image on the left. And I went, oh, that looks like a DJ mixer. So then I said, no, put it on an iPad. Thinking that would help. And now it's got some kind of 3-dimensional knobs, and it's not quite sure what's going on with the text, but you see, projector and streaming. So it listens somewhat, but it's not quite sure. So we're going to see a lot more stuff, and I just have a couple predictions, and then we're going to take some Q&A. I predict that the way that we're interacting with AV is going to change. Instead of this control system automation where you have to physically push, I want this input, I want it to go to that output, I want to change the volume this way. That's more automation. I think we're going to see more of an experience-based. I think the room is going to have some kind of AI where you're communicating much more naturally. If you want to type it, if you want to speak it, you know, please close the door, dim the lights, zoom in on Brian. Who's Brian? But the system, the room's going to know, the cameras are going to know. And how might AI help you? ChatGPT, I keep going back to this, but ChatGPT is the #1 app, but what's the category? What category do you think it lives in? Shout any ideas if you have any.
Entertainment.
Oh, I like that. Entertainment? No? Good guess. That's a good one? No? Productivity. Productivity. Because that's what AI is here to make you do. It's to help you, to assist you, to make you be more productive. We have a few minutes for questions, and then we'll wrap up and then get you out of here. So Dan, I think, has the microphone. Would love to hear any questions. What's on your mind about AV, AI? Yeah, please. He's gonna give you the microphone so the.
Used to have the Turing test for evaluating intelligence with AI, and then I guess the movie with Tom Cruise in it, as far as the Minority Report, as far as being benchmarks. Do you see future tests and more challenges to AI coming about to verify the capability of the machine to think?
That's an interesting question. Thank you. I will say that AI is all about the power of compute. So we go back to these servers. When you're interacting with AI, it needs a massive amount of compute to do these things. So that power has to live somewhere. So it's physical. So you're uploading the information and remote in the data center, that's where the compute lives. And it's processing it and it's giving it back to you. Maybe your question is, how much compute do you need? And I think they're just going to keep building it, and it's networked. So, you know, I think we're just going to keep seeing the demand as more and more and more and more. And as AI is not only just doing text, but doing video and creating movies, that power has to come from somewhere.
Okay. It's coming from 3 Mile Island.
They said they're going to bring it back. Power is another thing to power that. Yeah. Another question.
Yeah, not to be too paranoid, but what's going to regulate this? I mean, I got this scenario in my head where I get into my cyber cab. It has 12 cameras in it. It looks at me, and all of a sudden the government knows where I am, deems me a non-desirable, and the cab doesn't take me to the airport. The cab takes me to the Soylent Green factory. So, I mean, what's going to bound this, or who's going to control? What's going to control what AI does when it starts thinking on its own and doesn't need human inspiration anymore?
Excellent question. When I showed my kids the cyber cab and I said it doesn't have a steering wheel, they said, "Well, Dad, how are you going to drive it?" I said, "Well, I'm not going to drive it." And that's the question: is regulation. I don't foresee that the government is going to say, "Here's the regulation on AI," because AV lags IT, the government lags innovation. That's not a dig at them. It's Congress. I still don't know that they understand what TikTok is or social media.
I used to work for the NRC and regulate nuclear power plants. I'm right with you.
Uh-huh.
I'm not talking about government regulation. I'm talking about human regulation.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm getting at. So it has to be regulated by the creators. It has to be regulated by the companies. And I think the AIs that are going to win are those that are credible, those that are doing the right thing, not those that are a new pop-up AI? Are you going to upload all your data and give it all your finances and then ask it for financial advice? Probably not. You know, that your personal AI is going to be learning about the information is your personal information that you're giving it. So I think people are going to be hesitant, and it's really an ethical question, and it's up to the companies to do the right thing.
Yeah. It goes out some time, right? Because you probably have the same computer that are already monitoring, already have all my data in it already, right? It's just a matter of who's going to crack it now.
Just don't click on the wrong email because then they'll get everything.
Yeah, so do they need that?
AI will do that.
Exactly.
The machine will click on it for you.
I think we have time for 2 more questions.
Personal productivity versus something that's provided by someone else. So what I mean by that is like an artist that wants to paint or something like that. Can you speak to how AI might help them in this, or maybe even a musician for making music, something along those lines?
There is certainly, AI is certainly, let me start again. So creativity is really a human aspect, human quality, but so is thinking. So AI, historically, that's been a stretch for AI to do that. But it's not anymore. There's models that are to create whatever artwork you want. And you can fine tune it. There's adjustments for, do you want it to be more cartoon-like? Do you want it to be more realistic? Do you want it to be more of a painting? And every time you type in whatever you want, it's giving you something unique. So I think it's another tool. I think same thing on the music side. You might not need to have a whole orchestra where you're going to have a recording session to get all of this stuff. I think people are still going to do that, and I think there's value there. But I think there's also value on a to be more productive, that takes less time, that's less expensive. That you can have AI create a soundtrack or a song or background music. If you're a singer and you want to sing on top of that, that it's going to do it for you. And if you don't like how it changes, or you want a different beats per minute, I think you just type it in and it changes it for you, and it spits you out a new file.
It's already doing that. There's people who are taking like hard rock songs and turning them into yacht rock songs, and it sounds really good. And it's really bad.
All right, I'm going to leave you with, we'll wrap up. I'll leave you with the last thing. So I want to leave you with 3 takeaways. Number 1 is AI is here. Start using it today. There's a plethora of apps that you can download on your phone. Just play around with it. Start asking it questions. Start asking it to do things. Explore AV and AI. I think you can do that today. You have a lot of knowledge here, a lot of resources and manufacturers and visual sound team here. So explore what products are available and how you can start to think about and implement those technologies. And just remember that it's rapidly changing. So maybe you're not quite comfortable with AI today, but know that today's AI is not going to be tomorrow's AI or 6-month or 36-month AI. Thank you.